Whoopsie. That was a scan that we did with the Blackmagic scanner, and occasionally when it loses tension it stops moving the film through the gate, but it just kind of puts up that media offline thing. It's a weird bug, and I didn't trim it. So anyways, I'm Skip Alzheimer. Welcome to the AVGeeks lunchtime streaming show. We watch old 16mm films and show them to the world. Some of these are premieres that have never been seen before, like that last film has never been seen publicly. It's a home movie somebody shot of Nevada and Reno and the casinos in Reno and some other landscapes around there. Some films we have in our collection. We show, I don't know where I'm going with this. Some films in my collection I've shown before. Some films have been shown in schools. Some films have been shown in government agencies, churches, etc. And some of these we are premiering in the 21st century because they haven't been seen since they were made. Most of these films have a limited shelf life, so they don't get shown after a period of time. This next film is definitely a candidate for something that might actually still be shown today if this was transferred to some sort of video format. And I have it set up on the Telecine. Telecine is a device that you use to transfer from film to video that goes from 24 frames a second to 30 without the flicker, and also gives a really crisp image and sound without having to use a projector. And so we have that hooked up to a little box that then is hooked up to my computer, which we then stream via OBS to Restream, which gets propagated out to the world. Lots of pipes, lots of tubes, lots of cables to get you to see what you want to see. So here it is. This is Machine Shop Safety. Enjoy.
Rules are just as necessary in your job as they are in games or any sport. Safety rules are necessary because if you disregard them, you can injure yourself by losing an eye, or a hand, or a leg. You could even be killed.
Everyone's for safety for the other fellow. And the person who says, I'm all right, Jack, and I don't have to worry because an accident is never going to happen to me, you can rest assured that an accident is going to happen to him. The only thing we don't know about it is exactly when and how long. But as long as he is working in the shop and not taking the precautions that he should be taking in terms of guarding and protecting himself with the machines he's working with, he's most certainly going to have an accident. It's inevitable.
Always wear safety glasses or other eye protection on the job. If you don't, you're courting disaster. Flying particles could cause eye damage. Guards on machines are there for a purpose, for your protection. Without them, you could suffer a very serious injury, loss of fingers, hands. You could even be killed.
Barry, before you start this machine, always make sure that the guard here is in place. It's a safety device which will prevent damage to your fingers or even loss of limb, okay?
Where there is the danger of possible contact with moving parts of the equipment, such as shafts pulleys, belts, and power takeoffs, do not wear ties, bracelets, wristwatches that could present a potential hazard. Wear clothing that fits tightly about the body, especially around the neck, wrists, and ankles. If you don't, you're asking for trouble. If your hair is long, it could become entangled in the machinery. Wear adequate hairnets or close-fitting caps. Guards which had been removed for cleaning or maintenance must be replaced on completion of the work and before you make any adjustments. And make sure you use lockout devices or tags to make sure it will not be turned on without your knowledge. Never remove the ground wire pins from any portable electric power tool. If the tool is or becomes defective, you could cause an electric shock, which could kill you. Always remember to check that guards and safety devices are in working condition and properly adjusted. Do not operate it otherwise. Never use any machinery, tools, or equipment with which you are not familiar, particularly regarding their safety devices. Remember, before you remove a safety guard, think of the alternative.
Working the press and the machine I was going around, I shoved my hand there to grab that thing and it kept coming around. And it slammed shut and it closed in my hand. And I'd sat there for 2 hours trying because the press wouldn't open. So I had to sit there until the operator had to come and cut it off and take me to the hospital. I was in the hospital for 6 months. And if the safety would have been on working that time, if I'd have been using the safety, probably this wouldn't have happened. But I'm more safety now. I use more precaution when I work. So whatever you do, use your safety because you could end up like me with one arm. And no, life is tough with one arm.
Safety is much easier, really, than not being safe. Not being safe is stupid, cavalier. It's unworthy of the person who's working in the shop. Think safety again. Safety is the important thing. A lot of people think that safety is for sissies. Well, you know, there's nothing very sissy about going through life, keeping your arm and your leg and your eye. And the person who thinks that it is for sissies, you can almost be certain he will go through life probably and most likely minus an arm or a leg or an eye, or maybe he'll be dead long before he should have.
Once your work is completed, make sure the area is cleared of all tools and debris. Return tools and equipment to the proper storage place after use. Keep materials and equipment out of the aisles and off the stairways. Keep floors dry. Avoid spilling liquids. Wipe up all spills immediately. Throw trash and scraps in the proper waste containers. Oily rags, old paint cans, and other containers are a fire hazard. Get rid of them as soon as you can. Wear an approved hard hat when working in the vicinity of overhead hazards. The danger of head injuries from falling, flying, or thrown objects exists unless you are wearing a specially designed approved hard hat.
Because of no safety guard, the machine recycled and my fingers got caught within it. If I had a safety guard, I'm sure that I would have get away from the injury 100%. And I'll advise any person that works in a machine shop, the punch press, or in the sheet metal to take extra caution with whatever they're doing, providing there's a safety guard. So I wish everybody get away from any injury because I know what it's like today.
If you are working in an area where the noise level is exceedingly high, wear protective equipment that will effectively protect you from the harmful effects of the noise. Wear suitable gloves or hand pads when handling sharp, heavy, rough or hot materials and chemicals. Wear safety shoes. They'll protect your feet from injury. They even look good. Always wear a designed and approved respirator for spray painting, dusting operations, or other similar jobs. When spraying, make sure there is adequate ventilation to remove all fumes. If you don't, a fire or explosion could result. Never use any electrical power tools where flammable or explosive gases, fumes, or dust are present. If you do, a spark can cause an explosion or fire. Always remember to keep things that start fires away from things that burn. Keep solvents and flammable liquids away from a major source of fire. Do not use any electrical equipment if your hands are wet or if you are standing on wet ground. You could be electrocuted. Never attempt to repair defective wiring unless you are an electrician. All portable electric hand tools must be grounded. If they aren't, you could be seriously burned or electrocuted. Keep the cord out of the aisles and other busy areas. Extension cords should be inspected for breaks in the insulation before using. Protect the cord from oil, hot, or rough surfaces and chemicals. All machinery powered by electricity must be properly grounded. Defective tools are dangerous. Use the right size and type for the job. Carry your tools in a toolbox or tool belt. Edged or pointed tools should not be carried in your pockets. You could fall and injure yourself.
Okay, well.
Keep tools clean. Grease and dirt can cause slips and smashed fingers. Never leave tools lying about. They can cause accidents. Put them back in your kit when you're through with them. It is not a good idea to lift awkward or heavy materials without first sizing up the situation. Before lifting, inspect for sharp corners, nails, or staples. They could cause injury. To avoid hurting yourself, crouch as close to the load as possible. Bend your legs. Keep your back straight, but bend at the hips so you are over the load. Straighten your legs. Keep your back as straight as possible, turning your body in the direction you are going. When setting the objects down, reverse the procedure. Make sure the leg muscles and not the back muscles do the work. If racks or hoists are available, use them. They are there to prevent injuries as well as to make work safer and easier. Approximately up to 25% of all industrial injuries are back-related.
Machines don't bleed. People do bleed. And depending on how badly they're injured, they bleed very profusely and very fast. And death can occur very, very quickly. You can't win with a machine. A machine, you might go after the machine and you might bring it into disrepair or injure it in some way. But that machine can be repaired and put back on the bench and be just as good as it ever does. But if that machine attacks you and gets a hold of you, there is no way that you're going to be repaired and be back in that workshop as good as you ever were. That is for certain.
So that's Canadian, if you didn't notice. And according to my notes, I think it was 1979 when that film was released. I think it's time to learn about Frisky the calf.
This is a Coronet film. It is about a calf named Frisky. The film was produced with the assistance of Dr. Dora V. Smith, who is a professor of education at the University of Minnesota. Have you ever been on a farm? Have you ever seen a picture of a farm? Well, now you are seeing a moving picture about a farm. This is the farm where Mary Brown lives. See the big barns? And there's the house where Mary lives. Look at all the little pigs. Mary's father is feeding the pigs, but Mary is not with her father. Let's look for Mary. She is not feeding the chickens. Where is Mary? She is not playing with her dog. And she is not playing with her kittens. Where is Mary? Here she comes. Look at Mary run. She is very excited about something. She waves and calls her father. He sees her. He knows something has happened. He is excited too. What has happened? We want to see too, don't we? Mary leads the way out into the big pasture. What have they found beyond that tree? There's Bossy, one of Farmer Brown's cows. Look! Bossy the cow has a new baby calf. See how much alike they are? The calf is black and white like its mother. And its little hoofs are like hers too. Bossy isn't mean or angry, but she will make sure no one hurts her new calf. Mary and her father will sit on the grass and watch the calf and the mother cow, and we'll watch with them. Bossy is a good mother. She'll keep her baby calf clean until it learns to wash itself. Can you see how much alike they are? We can tell they are Holstein cows because they are black and white. The calf has just a little tail. When it is older, its tail will be long, like Bossy's. That long tail helps a cow swish away flies and mosquitoes. Mary thinks it's fun watching Bossy and the calf. The little calf is still too young to stand up and walk, so its mother stays nearby to protect her baby. A few hours later, Mary is watching when, look, the calf's legs aren't very strong, but there, it's standing up. A very little calf learning to walk in a very big world. Walking is not easy at first. The calf is wobbly. Bossy the mother watches her calf proudly. After a while, Mr. Brown takes the calf to carry it to the barn. On the way, they see some other kinds of cows. This calf is a Hereford. See how it drinks its mother's milk? Soon Bossy's calf will be living in the barnyard with the other dairy calves. A few days later, Mr. Brown sets out to teach the little new calf to drink milk from a bucket. This is fresh, warm milk Mr. Brown has thinned, so it will be good for the calf. Let's watch Mary's father. These are all much older calves who have already learned how to drink milk from a bucket. Do you think the new calf can learn to drink milk this way, from the nipple in the bucket? Very soon, Mr. Brown brings the baby calf in. It's hungry, but it can't understand at all. Mary is worried. It can't seem to learn what the nipple is for. Finally, Mr. Brown must help it. He actually puts the nipple in the baby calf's mouth and holds it. Surely it will learn now. There, it has learned. It doesn't stop drinking even now. It likes milk from the bucket. Mary is happy and proud of the little calf. Now the calf has a good start in life, and Mary's father will give it plenty of milk every day, so it will grow big and strong. After a few days, Mary's father says the calf should have a name. Mary watches the calf playing in the pasture. It is quite strong now. It runs and jumps all the time. Mary says, "Let's name him Frisky." Frisky is a good name for such a frisky little calf, don't you think? So Frisky the calf has a fine time playing in the pasture. Soon Frisky begins to make friends. He looks through the fence and sees a horse named Stardust. Frisky likes the beautiful shiny horse. Stardust has hoofs something like Frisky's. Frisky makes friends with Mary's dog. His name is Polka Dot. After playing, Frisky rests or takes a nap in the shade of a big tree. Frisky grows fast, and soon he learns to eat hay just the way grown-up cattle eat. Mary sees this, and she wants to tell her father. She wants to tell him about how Frisky has started eating grass and hay. "Well then," says Mr. Brown, "it's time for Frisky to try his first real dinner of corn and oats." At the feed trough, Frisky doesn't know what to do, and he feels very small with all the older calves. But Frisky is brave, so he walks right up with the others. Mr. Brown is pleased as Frisky begins to eat. Frisky decides that the new kind of food tastes good. It's corn, barley, oats, and special foods. Frisky feels very grown up, eating dinner with all the older calves. After dinner, Mary opens the gate to the small pasture to let all the calves go out. Mary doesn't have to show Frisky what to do. You see, he learns many things just by watching the others. We learn things that way too, don't we? Now it's time for us to go. But before we go, let's look again at some of the things we've seen. And let's think of some other things we can do. We've seen the farm where Mary Brown lives. Can you tell a story about a farm? We've seen Frisky and his mother, Bossy. Can you draw a picture of a calf? A picture of a cow? We've seen the beautiful horse named Stardust. Would you like to make a scrapbook with pictures of horses and other animals that live on farms? We've seen Mary's father, Farmer Brown. Can you sing a song about a farmer? We've seen Mary doing many things. Can you write some of the things we've seen Mary do? Do you know any books about calves like Frisky and farms like Mary's and Farmer Brown's? Wouldn't it be fun to find out more about farm animals and about people who live on farms?
Oh, Frisky. It was fascinating at the beginning, the narrator actually speaking the title. I'm wondering if this was also for sight-impaired children. Because I've never really seen that before, where they actually are reading the title, and it's a Cornet film about blah blah blah. Anyways, thank you, Jim, so much for coffee. Coffee is a wonderful way to reward AVGeeks for what they do. You can go to buymeacoffee.com/AVGeeks. I've got it listed over here to my right. You can also go to AVGeeks.com and see other DVDs that we have and other films that we've put online. We're selling DVDs as one way to pay the bills. Also, you can hit like and subscribe. Those are great ways to say thank you. To say we like AVGeeks. Hi, giant computers. Please let AVGeeks do what they do and tell other people about it. This next film, I think this is a James Handy film. And I think it's about spending money in church. I've only seen like the first part of it and the last part of it when we were scanning it. I didn't get a chance to really watch it, so this is my opportunity to actually watch it. Here's The Spenders.
Mulberry Street, quiet eddy in the backwaters of a big city's turbulence. Older residents, retired or ready to retire. And something sets most of them apart. They're thrifty, they're solvent. Ira Madden owns this house free and clear. Ira's a bus driver. He and his wife Fern worked hard all their lives, saved their money, paid their bills, even helped their sons through school as much as they could. They have always believed in living their lives productively.
It won't start right. Lousy charcoal.
The children will be here soon, Ira.
Oh, don't worry. Larry and Edith, they're always late. And Don and Jean, what with the kids and that old jalopy?
Look, Grandpa's starting a fire. Can we help, Grandpa?
No car trouble today. Hello, darling. How are you?
We made it.
Hello, dear.
That's the eldest son, Don. His wife, Jean. Their children.
Hi, Dad.
Don went to the university to study engineering. Surprised everybody by switching to agriculture. He met his wife at a campus church retreat. Eventually, Jean went to work to help Don finish school, realize his goal, farming. It hasn't been easy.
Jean, I told you not to bring anything.
Oh, you're guinea pigs for my canning.
Oh, not many people do this anymore.
I'd like to. Besides, it saves money.
A cake, too. Oh, Jean, now why don't you sit down and take a rest?
Don needs it more than I do.
Hey, when do we eat?
It's Uncle Larry. And Aunt Eva.
Larry is Ira's younger son, graduate engineer, ambitious, capable, just beginning his career in electronics. Edith is a secretary in an advertising agency. They have no children.
Oh, hi, Mom.
Hello, Mother. Hi, Jeannie. How are you?
Three families, each tied closely together by kinship and marriage. Yet each is different. And the thing that accounts for the biggest difference among these three families is the attitude each has toward money.
I'd love to take her on a shopping spree some weekend. That's a very tempting offer, Edith. Lila, let's sit down over here.
Okay.
How lucky you and Larry are, Edith. No money problems. No dollar stretching. Kids always needing something. Wanting something. Everything they see on TV. And it's not fair to say no all the time. Maybe we should have waited.
When do we eat, Mom?
Pretty soon. You and Kenny go in and wash up.
Come on, Kenny.
I hope ours will be a girl. I suppose I should be happy, but I just don't want to be tied down. I know one thing. I won't go around wearing a $5 house dress. Maybe it's not true. I'll know Monday. I'm glad I haven't told Larry yet.
They call it contract feeding, Larry. I collect so much per head for feeding, finishing the stock for market.
All this while you're working every day in that machine shop?
Well, this is something that lets me work in town.
That's the kind of thing that ages you fast.
Well, a man's got to be happy doing what he's doing, Dad.
Right. And I wouldn't change places with you for $1 million. So why do I envy you? Because you know what you want and why. Nice wife. Kids I'd give my eye teeth for. What is it? I'm doing what I like too. Good money, good future, pretty wife. Expensive taste, true, both of us, but, well, appearances. Still a lot of unnecessary things. That boat, used it 3 times last summer. All those bills, where does all the money go? Last time that question came up, we didn't speak for 2 days. Trouble is, it'll come up again.
You've been putting in some pretty long hours yourself, haven't you, Larry?
Oh, I don't mind it, Dad. I guess my work is my life, in a way.
I guess I can't ask for much more in life than to see my sons happy and successful.
Successful? That's debatable. I'm in hock up to my ears. You're the success, Dad. You and Mother.
You've made good use of everything God gave you. You've led such responsible lives. Thanks for starting Larry and me off on the right track.
Are those ribs almost done, Ira? Everybody's hungry.
Coming right up.
Another tie that holds these families together is their Christian faith. All are church members, some more involved than others.
Come, Lord Jesus, be our guest, and let these gifts to us be blessed. Amen. Now, let's dig into these spare ribs. That's a mad special. Here we go.
But money problems have a way of intruding, even on a pleasant Saturday afternoon.
Oh, Edith, if you want to see your folks this afternoon, you and Larry better start.
Oh, I hate to just eat and run, Mother. But Dad sounded so strange when he called this morning.
Oh, nobody's sick, I hope.
I don't know. We haven't seen them for ages.
Why, I thought you saw them at least once a week in church.
Well, Larry's been playing golf lately on Sunday mornings.
Oh.
And I don't like to go alone.
Edith's parents, Frank and Grace Gregory, live in fashionable Glenview. For years, Frank has been self-employed, a successful commercial artist. The Gregorys have always lived well, and before Edith, their only child, married, she had everything she ever wanted.
Nobody wants my style anymore. I've had very little work for some time now. I haven't wanted to drag you kids into it, but, well, I'm concerned.
Haven't you put anything away?
All we have is the house. I just never thought the well would run dry.
Trouble is, we're kind of in over our heads, too. But don't worry, we'll help. With Edith and me both working, we should be able to do something. Come on, cheer up. We're going outside.
Larry, I haven't been able to tell Grace. I'd appreciate it if...
Oh, sure, Dad. I'm gonna have to tell Edith, though.
Yeah.
I'll tell her tonight. Come on.
Look, Larry, they're my responsibility,
That's not the point, honey.
What is the point?
This should be a lesson to us.
Oh, I suppose it's all my fault.
We should have something more than a lot of debts.
Everyone has them.
Honey, just look at what my brother's doing.
Oh, I suppose you want to move to a farm, too. I think it's all so stupid.
I can envy some of the men at my office for the same reason I envy Don.
I didn't realize you were so unhappy.
Why can't we ever discuss this without quarreling?
Well, maybe you married the wrong woman.
Well, maybe I did.
Oh, I can't have that baby now. Not now. Not now.
For the first time since his marriage, Larry is determined to do something. When he finishes...
Well, your mother and I had our money problems, too.
I think all young folks kind of rebel at the discipline it takes.
But once you see how important it is to be working towards something...
Toward what, Dad?
Toward what?
Well, a purpose, a Christian home. Your children, if you have any, of course. Something for your old age.
Dad, I know all those things.
Well, it's the good Christian way to live, Larry.
But I know, Mom. I know.
Larry, why don't you and Edith spend the weekend with Don and Jean? I think Don can tell you what your mother and I are trying to say. He always seems to be able to say it better than we can.
I wonder if I can get Edith to go.
Honey, I'm sorry. Oh, baby.
Where were you? I was so worried.
I went to see Mother and Dad, and I got an awful lot to tell you. Now, come on. You sit right down there and listen. Dad felt that, well, maybe going out to the farm and talking it over with Don and Jean might help.
Well, it's worth a try. We've got to do something.
The following weekend, Larry and Edith were a welcome sight.
Hey, honey, look who's there.
Edith!
How are you, son? Hey, am I glad to see you? Here.
Don had a fence to
Come on, I'll
mend,
show you how to-
could use an extra hand. Jean, preparing vegetables for canning and freezing, could also use some help.
Take it easy on her, Jean. She hasn't been feeling well all week. We almost changed our minds about coming.
There we are.
It's just so easy to let things ride. Until something like my father-in-law's problem explodes in our faces.
Well, it was the same with us in a way, Larry.
Oh, come on now.
Sure. This farming kick. You know, it's pretty tough to go into farming today. A lot of people are getting out of it. But this is what I wanted. And I went over my head in debt.
You?
Yep. Well, I thought I saw a way out. Jim Wilson down at the bank is a member of our church. Good connection, I figured. And frankly, I was going to take advantage of it. Well, he wanted to see my books. Books. I was doing my bookkeeping on the backs of old envelopes. Well, anyway, I showed him what I could. And here's the joker. Now, this guy is the chairman of our church's stewardship committee. So he says, well, I have a good idea of the income. I can see what you're spending. But you haven't shown me any record of what you're giving. Giving? I almost laughed in his face. But what he had to say made me examine my whole attitude toward why I was doing what I was doing. You see, it was important to me to own land, to touch it, to feel it belonged to me and no one else. But Jim set me straight. Everything is really God's, Larry. And since that's the way it is, we ought to be pretty careful about how we handle what we have. It's up to us to make the most of what he gives us. Everything. Time, ability, land, money. no matter what our line of work. And now, my land, my life, it all has a new meaning. When Jim helped me see that I really belonged to Christ, I realized that my life had to have a purpose beyond the boundaries of this little farm.
What is that purpose, Don?
To spend it for God, on other people. Come on, let's get back to the house.
Jean, Larry and I are in trouble. We're in debt way over our heads.
But Edith, I thought... Welcome to the club.
Oh, I know we should be more careful and keep track of everything, but budgeting is such a nuisance.
Not when you look at it as something more than an exercise in financial housekeeping.
What do you mean?
Well, Don and I feel that what we do with our money reflects what we believe. A lot of our expenses didn't have much meaning when we took that attitude. It made it easier to do without some of the things we're being pressured to buy.
Just where do you begin?
Oh, there's no mystery about it. I'll show you how Don and I started.
What's up?
Jean is going to give me a lesson in family budgeting.
Ooh, mind if I listen?
Absolutely not. Budgeting sessions have to include all members of the family.
That's right. Kids, too.
They're just a few basic steps, really. First, figure your total annual income. Say it's $6,000. Then we begin with what we give every week to the church and add to this our fixed expenses.
Fixed expenses?
Yeah, things like insurance, mortgage, loan payments, taxes.
Say these come to $2,400. Subtract from your income and divide by 12, leaving $300 a month for variable expenses.
Variable?
Well, such as food, clothing, entertainment, transportation, education for the kids.
And this is where you have to decide what your goals are, what comes first, and what can be given up.
What you're working for and whom you're working for.
Our plan breaks all our expenses down on a monthly basis.
Yeah, and our allowances, too. Say, Dad, don't you think it's about time for another raise?
We'll talk about that the next time we sit down and revise our plan, huh?
Well, this plan you've been talking about, is this the actual budget breakdown?
Yeah, I'll show it to you.
You children go wash up.
We're always washing.
And you too, young lady.
Okay.
Don and Jean keep monthly spending records to compare against their planned expenses. These are vital to successful money management. They help plug leaks, make additional money available for important goals. One of Don's first goals was debt repayment. He found those finance charges were a big leak in his spending plan. Another goal was an emergency fund for unexpected expenses.
Making our plan work means careful shopping. We shop for everything, even interest rates. But you'd be amazed how it all adds up. Oh, yes, and as you know, we're do-it-yourselfers.
It's all part of what we were talking about in the field, Larry. How well we manage what God has given us.
How did you ever get started with your plan?
You remember Jim Wilson at the bank?
Huh?
Well, he was very helpful.
But there are other places to get help, too.
Oh, sure. You've got your credit unions, bank, saving association, life insurance companies.
Oh, haven't you seen the new money management material our church just put out?
No, we haven't.
I'll get them.
Now, you'll also find that you always have to keep your budget up to date.
Conditions change from month to month.
Here you are. This gives you the reasons why, and this tells you how. That handbook also contains your record forms.
Looks complicated to me.
Oh, not really. And besides, our church has special meetings to explain and discuss these materials.
Never thought the church was interested in things like this.
Yeah, well, speaking of church, Sunday mornings come early around here. Now, you look those over, and we'll talk about them some more tomorrow, all right?
Mm-hmm.
I got to go out and check the stock.
Okay, Doc.
I'll be back as soon as I look in on the children.
Glad we came.
I guess so.
What's the matter, honey?
Oh, I just feel that we've been wasting so much and missing so much.
The following morning, out of their dedication to Christ, Don and his family give freely and generously.
All of a sudden, I want that baby very much.
Here you are, honey. This enough?
Oh, that'll be fine.
Honey, we'll sit down with your folks and try to show them how we'll get ourselves out of this mess. They'll have to try the same thing. Anyway, with the both of us working, we should be
Larry.
able to...
We can't count on my working very long. I went to the doctor this week, and he said
Hey, I'm gonna be a father!
Edith and Larry are starting out on a new adventure in Christian family living. They are beginning to recognize the need to earn, spend, save, give as Christian stewards.
Wouldn't even say pregnant. Wouldn't even say expecting. Wouldn't even say child. It's fascinating. This film is really interesting. Although it was long, but really kind of an interesting film that you would show in church to encourage giving. And it's like, you guys don't have any money, but you really don't have any money if you're not giving it, some of it to us. Other people had other problems to worry about, and this film addresses that.
Let us face, without panic, the reality of our times, the fact that atom bombs may someday be dropped on our cities. And let us prepare for survival by understanding the weapon that threatens us. An atom bomb destroys or injures in three ways: by blast, heat, and radioactivity. The blast of an atom bomb is its most important destructive agent. In Japan, whole buildings were flattened by its force. However, many buildings of sturdy construction, even though close to the explosion, remained standing. The principal dangers of blast are flying glass and debris, the fires it may start, and the danger of being crushed in collapsing buildings. The atom bomb destroys by heat. People caught in the open as far as 2 miles away suffered flash burns. Yet, protection could have been easily achieved. Here, a bridge post and rail shielded the surface behind it. Any solid material afforded similar protection. The third weapon of the bomb is radioactivity, thrown off at the instant of explosion. However, the majority of people exposed to radiation recovered completely, including a large percentage of those who suffered serious radiation sickness. Today, they lead normal lives. They bear children. Their children are normal. These, then, are the weapons of the atom bomb that we must protect against: blast, heat, and radioactivity. Our cities are prime targets for atomic attack, but mass evacuation would be disastrous. An enemy would like nothing better than to have us leave our cities empty and unproductive. If an emergency should come, our factories will be battle stations. Production must go on if we are to win. Our offices and homes will also be posts of duty, not to be deserted. With the knowledge of the first atomic explosions to guide us, our chances for survival will be far better than those of the people of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, if we act on our knowledge and are prepared. The first job is to look over your own home for shelter possibilities. If you live in a private home that is well built, the cellar is the safest place to be. The lower you get, the more barriers there are likely to be against blast, heat, and radioactivity. Select the basement wall nearest the probable target area of your city. If the house is blown over, it will most likely fall away from this wall. If you have a workbench or strong table big enough to get under, move it into your shelter area near a wall or strong supporting column. If the time comes when you actually have to take shelter, lie under the table. If you live in a home that has no basement, choose a shelter area without windows on the ground floor. An interior hallway is probably best. In time of emergency, the shelter area should be cleared of mirrors and other objects that might cause injury. If you live in an apartment house, rules for taking shelter will be posted in your building. Learn them. Also, learn the location of public shelters in areas where you work or frequently visit. There are many things you can begin doing right now. Fireproof housekeeping is one, so clean up that attic. Keep waste in covered containers. Don't let trash pile up in the yard. Set aside a small supply of canned goods. They're safe from radioactivity. Have a good flashlight on hand. Electric lights may go out. Keep a first aid kit and learn how to stop bleeding. Make a habit of keeping a bottle of fresh water handy. A radio will be important for receiving vital instructions. Finally, prepare the shelter area and collect all necessary shelter equipment. In case of an actual raid or test drill, the alert will be a warbling siren blast lasting 3 minutes. Once you hear this, act fast. Pull down the shades or blinds and close the drapes against flying glass. Turn off the burners of your gas or electric stove. Disconnect any heating elements, such as electric irons, hot plates, or bathroom heaters. Close all outside doors, but leave them unlocked. Turn off the gas or oil burners. taking shelter may be a race against time, even when you have some advance warning. But possibly, there may be no time. An attack could come without warning. The sky would suddenly light up. If a doorway is right at hand, use it. If the nearest shelter is more than a couple of steps away, fall to the ground immediately. Flying glass and debris are immediate dangers, so stay where you are until you're sure it's safe to move. If you are at home when a surprise attack occurs, crawl beneath a table if it is very near, or drop to the floor with your back to the window. The immediate danger is over in about a minute, unless the explosion occurred near the ground or water. In this case, radioactive materials are trapped in the particles of dirt or water thrown up by the explosion. When these particles fall back to Earth, they may be dangerous. So get indoors immediately after a ground-level explosion. Cover broken windows against radioactive dust with blankets or cardboard. Civil defense radiological teams, equipped with radiation survey meters, will check on contamination in any bombed area. Stay under cover until you hear officially that it is safe outside. If you have been exposed to radioactive dust, wash the exposed areas. Pay particular attention to your hair. Get all the dirt from under your fingernails. If the people of Hiroshima and Nagasaki had known what we know about civil defense, thousands of lives would have been saved. Yes, the knowledge is ours, and preparation can mean survival for you. So act now. Someday your life may depend on it.
So that nauseous warble was due to film transfer. I think this was using a machine that you can transfer faster than real time, but the problem is that the tension on the sound head makes it go whir, 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 whir. So some films are like that. Anyways, thanks so much for tuning in today. Love an atomic survival film. I have a couple in my collection. Of course, Duck and Cover being one, and Can You Beat the A-Bomb? And then there's some others. I got a bunch of civil defense films from Texas Department of Public Safety, of which I feel like I've digitized a bunch of them, but yeah, we can pull out some more if you guys like them. Also, I have this amazing depressing one, and I'd love to show it, but I'm nervous to show it because it is British and it's under copyright, and it might be BBC, and they tend to be pretty bad bringing the hammer down. But it's called, I think it's a Guide to Survival During Armageddon, which is really good. And that might be something that I would do on a show on the Black Hole Monoplex, where we don't have the hammers, and we can show stuff like that. So that might be an upcoming thing that we do. Thanks again for tuning in, and you're welcome to buy us coffee if you like what we did today, or at least were intrigued by it. And you can go to avgeeks.com and see other things we have online and buy DVDs. And of course, commenting, sharing, hitting the like, the thumbs up icon, some sort of button that says, hey, let this guy do what he's doing. All those things help. And so everybody have a good rest of your Thursday, and we will see you soon. Everybody take care.